And now, the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. This is Sleep Dog with Hall of Famer Big Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It's the Big Hawk. I'm excited to be here. Man, it is a beautiful day. We're laboring on Labor Day.
Yeah.
We're getting you guys the best podcast. We got a great episode. I'm excited to sleep.
Got the merch. If you guys are watching, man, you got to go on. We've sold about 7 t-shirts. We need to sell about 700 more. Turn this sumbitch profitable. Go to our website. I think it's SleepHawk Worldwide. Shop.sleephawkworldwide.com. Or our Instagram page. We'll link it there. Get you a t-shirt, man. A lot of shit to get into. We're fresh off a big win. Football. Over South Carolina this week. All kinds of shit to talk about that. No Dez, all kinds of stuff to talk about that still. They expected an outcome this week. Didn't matter. Matters, but didn't matter for the outcome of the game. We'll segue that into this kind of a little-known story that I heard about a couple days ago. A UNC tennis player went to U.S. Open, kicked ass, won $81,000, couldn't bring it home with her. We'll talk about that. Wonder where the hell Charles Baker, not Charles Barkley. And where's the NCAA? Like, what's going on? Why doesn't anybody say anything about this? NFL starts Thursday. ACC, SEC, all that talk. And it got smoked last night and got smoked Saturday night. The SEC did by the ACC. And Team USA. I didn't really get smoked by Lithuania, but they lost, so that's never a good sign. And but we're going to kick it off with last week, man. Big Hawk inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. We talked about it maybe a month ago. Dude, it was awesome. Coach K was there, probably the low light, but the Big Hawk, he was there too. That's definitely a highlight, and it was awesome. It was a really good time. SleepHawk Worldwide was fully represented, and a bunch of older players and personalities from college basketball. So congratulations, T. I know we chatted about it before, but now that it's happened, man, how do you feel about it, and what's it mean to you?
It means a lot, and it's a big honor. Sleep, I'm glad you came. It meant a lot to me. But I had a lot of close friends and family, teammates, coaches along the way that went to the induction. But, I've always said this, being from a small town, Poplar Bluff, Missouri, there's a lot of people that helped me through my career, that helped me have my, the success that I had. And that is a representation of great teammates, great coaches, and a great support system from my family. So, like I've always said, my name's attached to it. I'm in the Hall of Fame, but it also represents Poplar Bluff, Missouri, represents a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teammates, family members, and friends who have supported me along the way and helped me get to where I was. And I specifically want to thank all of the Tar Heel Nation, all the fans out there that do continue to support me and listen to our podcast and keep up with me now that I'm done playing. I would say that playing at UNC was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And I love the university. I love my teammates. And I had a great time there. And I was very fortunate to play for the program and be part of it and do a lot of big things. And it was a special night. And for me personally, it was kind of weird, Sleep, because I was being honored, but also, it's sometimes in life, we go about it and we get caught up in day-to-day situations, and we don't realize how many people actually support us and actually care about us. And when I looked across that room and went on that stage and I saw a bunch of teammates, a bunch of close friends, a bunch of family standing there clapping for me, I was kind of taken back and a little emotional because I was like, man, all these people out here for me, it really meant a lot. And it was great. And like I've said, now I'm done playing. It is a sign of age going into a Hall of Fame, but, I couldn't have had a better college career. And the way things turned out, it was truly special.
Man, it was an awesome night. It was well put together, from start to finish, the event. The way they laid it out. We were in this guy's high rise in Chicago on a basketball court on the 20th floor overlooking the skyline. It was a cool place. I don't even know the name of the building, but it was awesome. Even Coach K, man, he couldn't even hide his praise, dude. So, and I even went back and was thinking, we've become friends, but I think it sometimes detaches me at least. But dude, you just go back and look and dude, they just don't make players anymore. That I think it's it's a testament. They talked a lot about your work ethic and all that sort of stuff. And I think, I'm not going to get all wax poetic on it, but it was really, really cool to be there and have people remember that. Like, I just don't think there's a whole lot of players we're going to see like you anymore. And it was an honor to be there, and I appreciate you having us. But it was cool to remember and be reminded of, like, I feel like as we talk about it some, right? Things are changing, right? There's all the social media aspect of things, and a lot of more eyeballs on college athletics for a variety of reasons, some good, some bad. But man, those teams, like, I think you just really personified the team, and it's just hard to think that we're ever going to, like, get another team where we feel like we're going to have players there that stay for a long time that, are sort of synonymous with the program. And I don't know that there's a player or many players at least that are more synonymous with Carolina than you are. And that's got to be a cool place to be. So
yeah, and thanks, Sleep. I mean, UNC basketball outside my family is about as important to me as anything in my life. And, I still I care greatly about the program. I care greatly about the kids. And sometimes in this NIL transfer portal, era that college basketball is in right now, I truly think that if kids just sit back, relax, stop focusing on problems, and look at the situation they're in, they'd be like, man, you know what? I'm playing for UNC. This is an amazing tradition, amazing program. A lot of great players put in work to get where this program is, players, coaches. And, sometimes I wish kids get, so frustrated in the present. Just, work things out, stay positive. And I do think that my work ethic did help me along my career. But, like I said, Sleep, I don't want to touch on too much, but, it was amazing. And I loved my time there.
It was awesome, guys, but nothing was better than there's two behind the scenes moments that we're going to keep you guys in on. First one is as soon as they give Big Hawk, they give him a medal, right? They give everybody a medal. And as soon as you can tell that Big Hawk now is on this podcast. And what our punchline is like, you listen to this thing and, like, you will get dumber. And I feel like that was personified by, like, I don't know what happened, if it was just a faulty medal or what, but Tyler had this medal for literally 5 seconds and the medal broke off of the thing. And so if you look at all the pictures out there, and a couple people when we posted it recognized it, but everybody's standing there and Tyler's got the medal just holding it up like it's still attached. But the problem is it's about 6 inches below the ribbon. And I mean, I think Bob Frazier was the first guy that caught on to it. They're serving drinks there. And I'll be honest, we were there early. And I was like, after they came by a couple times, I was like, I might meet Roy Williams, and I definitely don't need to have another sip of alcohol if I'm going to be doing that.
It was a hot day. You needed hydration. It was
hot, and it was starting to. So I pumped the brakes, right? And I think Bob, I don't know where that came into the story, but I think Bob caught it. It's like, he already broke the medal. I mean, it's this formal thing. It was hilarious, man. And that part was really funny. And so all night, Tyler's just walking around looking like Hogwarts because he's just got the ribbon on and the medal is in a box. And then we go to this place, PBJ in Chicago. Shout out. Those guys are really good to us. Not peanut butter. Pizza, beer, and jukebox. Keyword there, jukebox. So they have that app on your phone where you can, like, pay to be the next song or whatever. This is a college bar. It's like, kind of not necessarily a dive. It was really cool, but they had all picnic tables and stuff out on the sidewalk. We're all in suits. We're all in our 40s, basically, eating pizza and drinking Nooners. Those things are great, by the way. Not great the next morning, but pretty great while they're going down. And there's all these people there just dressed in T-shirts and stuff. It's Friday night. It's a weeknight. Everybody's just kind of enjoying themselves, playing different songs, all varieties. The next thing you know, we convinced old Dan to play the national anthem. So everybody's just vibing in that place, and all of a sudden you just hear kind of silence. And Leanne Rimes' version of the national anthem was the only one we could find on there. And all these people are sitting there, and we're standing outside on the sidewalk, and they had an American flag out there. And for 2 solid minutes, we're just standing there with our hands over our hearts, staring at the flag. And all these people are like, dude, who are these old dudes in suits on a whatever Wednesday Like, what's wrong with these guys? So I don't think anybody really paid attention. Like, we thought it was going to be this really funny thing, and it was funny because it wasn't.
No, it was hilarious. The Nooners were amazing.
They are good.
But I don't think the rest of the bar actually caught on to the national anthem. It was kind of a disappointment because we all stood up.
We were hyped.
Put our hand over our heart, just sat there, and I was dying laughing. It was
late, too.
It was so funny. It was a great night, though. I mean, shout out to, the pizza, beer, and jams because that pizza was really good.
Pizza was good. Beer was good.
There was one guy in our crew that just mowed through the pizza. I was like, good God, man. Hey, calm down, buddy. Let me get one piece before you take all 3 pizzas. But, yeah.
And believe it or not, that wasn't me. And believe it or not, hell, I stayed up until 1 o'clock in the morning, and I told everybody goodbye before I left. There's one rule that Sleep Dog has is if I get to drinking, like I don't really drink much the night before a flight because I was on a flight hungover one time and it was the last time. Ooh. And man, in the morning I woke up and those Nooners, man, they're really good. But I had too much different stuff over the course of like hours, and I was never like. It's one of those things where you kind of like drink over an extended period of time and you just like get tired and nothing else, right? So I walked back to my hotel and I woke up and I was like, oh no, man, this might be it, dude. And there was this tropical storm blowing through. We've had some chats about little dicey flights. And I was like, there's 2 things. One thing I don't want to be is hungover. Another thing I don't want to be is on a turbulent flight. And I definitely don't want to be hungover on a turbulent flight. But I was neither by the time it all happened.
Sleep Dog, I'm the same way. I don't know what happened to me, but this past couple of years, I do not want to. I want to feel rested if I'm going to get on a flight. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be hungover, and I know what you're saying. Traveling is a tough situation. Traveling hungover, tired, exhausted, and then you're burping up Nooners. It's a bad feeling, and so you want that flight as smooth as possible, and you want to try and get. I know you probably fly first class. Big Dog, he's in economy, main, whatever cabin was where you got to pay. If you bring a tissue on the plane, they're going to charge you. And so that's the way I'm flying. And I do have a qualm. Did you try the Malort?
No.
Oh my good God. Yeah, Chicago. No. Do not put your name behind that.
We got a couple of videos of some guys, and I was one of them, but not caught on camera, of everybody when they looked away. I just threw mine under the picnic table and just made this awful face.
The guy that runs PB&J comes out with a bottle of Malort and said, this is Chicago's pride. It's a rite of
passage, yeah.
You've got to have a shot of Malort. And I said, good God, don't do this to me right here in front of everybody. Stares me down, pours it, and I'm like, oh, God.
And they were getting heat for not drinking. I was getting heat when I tried to be honest about it. My conscience got the best of me.
I will say that is the worst shot I've ever had in my life.
God, I'm glad I didn't take it.
At this stage of my life, I'm not a shot guy. But in college, I was, I got my shots up. Kobe Bryant, I got my shot. I was in the gym putting shots up. But I got my shots up, and I've had a good variety and a good mixture, a lot of concoctions. But the Malort is the worst shot I've ever taken in my life. And it left a weird feeling in my mouth for 20 minutes, Sleep. 20 minutes. And it wasn't like, you took a shot of, as the alcohol content just kind of overwhelmed you and you're burping it up for about 20 minutes. Then you got to go ahead and, puke and rally. But then, that stage, I'm not doing that this stage in my life. It was so disgusting. It stayed in my mouth for about 20 minutes. And it was
a chill down my spine.
I absolutely hate Malort, and I will never take another shot of Malort, no matter what
Chicago.
What
Great
type
city.
of pressure they put on me. Great city. Awful. Malort is awful. Liquor.
So Cam, at that point, by the time the national anthem came on, I think Cam had 7 different kinds of alcohol that I counted. He had some sort of spritzer. He had red. He's over there drinking red wine. Teeth are all purple drinking. Then when they hand him this Malort, and dude, it was a piece of work, man. We had an old school crew out there just acting up, but yeah, I forgot about the old Malort, man. Thank God. And that's honestly the only reason I didn't do it is I was like, if my flight had been, the next night, I would have maybe. But I was like, this is one of those that you think you're all right, You take that thing, you go home, you doze off, and you wake up, and you're like, why do I feel so bad?
Yep.
And somebody's got to remind you that you were singing the national anthem because that Malort just took that away from you. It took that memory and just stole it from you. So I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I poured my shit on the AstroTurf out there.
And there's one other thing that I don't like. I'm not a champagne guy. I hate champagne. Just don't like it. And everyone, let's go to brunch. Let's do the bottomless mimosas. That is never like, hey, that is not a motivating factor for me ever in my life. And champagne, I think, is just god awful.
Buddy, I will check my pride at the door for a mimosa, dude. I will mow those things down.
Anything with champagne, I'm out.
It's awful. I mean, it's
anything with champagne.
2 of those some bitches, and everybody's funny after a couple of those. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it don't like me, but don't let me. If you see me out at the Carolina Inn, at the CI, at the Claw's house, taking some mimosas before a game, please pull me aside because I need to, remind me that if I want to see the game, I need to, pump the brakes.
One other question I have for you: White Claw or Nooners?
Dude, here's the deal. I like the Topo Chicos too. But I had a peach nooner, and I'm telling you, dude, I ain't never had a seltzer that good. And this is free advertising, guys. I know Barstool does it and they pump it and all that. I didn't. The difference is now I think there's clearly some sort of extra sweetener in those things than there are in these others. They got to be right. I don't know if they put more, plant. I think they're all plant-based stuff now, or instead of damn Diet Coke. But it was good. Now, it also might have been that I was just mowing down pizza. It's midnight, right? Like, we're just vibing out there. Could be. Good first impression, though.
Yeah, hey, Sleep, you were a Truly guy for a little bit.
Nah, I never was a Truly guy.
When we went to the pool years ago, you had all the lemonade Truly. Or was that you, or was that Big Dan?
Oh, those black lemonade Trulies. Yeah, you're right.
The black one. The lemonades were solid.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I forgot about those.
Oh yeah, but damn. I will say
you're right about that.
My Old Faithful. I'm going White Claw, black cherry.
The black cherry's only, baby.
And lemon lime. I Nooners are good.
Mangoes
They're
are good.
solid.
Mangoes are good now for White Claw, but them black cherries, man,
that
put White Claws on the map. And I mean, they're so good. You pay $8 and plus tax for them over there at Carolina Inn. We need to call them back.
Yeah, we need to see what the prices are this year.
Yeah, we should do that right now. But I'll be there on Saturday for the App State game. Speaking of this, let's get into football. What a great time, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Hats off, to all the inductees. Johnny Dawkins was there. Mike Krzyzewski was there. And man, I'm butchering it because you got to know the other 2 guys.
Herb McGee, and Tony Kukulic.
Tony, yeah, and that was his brother.
Yeah, his brother accepted the award. He was one of the first people to actually really start scouting.
That's right.
High school players. He also had a lot to do with the 5-star basketball camps, which I attended, and a lot of other people, in the basketball world, everyone knows about that. And then also Herb McGee was the head coach for a lot of college teams, especially around the Philly area. He's a legend. He did big things, so it was an honor to be inducted with them.
Yeah, those 2 people especially was really cool. 5 seconds on that. I mean, he was like a lesser-known coach that won a lot of games, and those guys are like, I mean, the Hansbroughs, the Roy Williams, the Krzyzewskis, like everybody knows those guys, and it's great. But basketball is a big game for a lot of people, and that guy had touched a lot, and it was really cool to learn about that. And the other guy, his scouting stuff, it was amazing. Like he was like you said, he basically originated the scouting report, and everybody depended on him. So it was up there in that area. So really cool for that, and even Johnny Dawkins and old Coach K, man, they had nice things to say. So for one night, we could put our feelings aside for a bit and move on past it. But now that night's over, so it can go to hell. UNC South Carolina, dude, what a night for the Tar Heels. Probably should have brought Ross on here because this was his opportunity to just be like, dude, I told you. I got a few, man, dude, I keenly watched. I think we might be a football podcast now, at least for the next 12, 13 weeks. A couple things I saw. First thing I want to start off, I'm going to come back to Drake May. Carolina looked amazing. I mean, I think if you're a Carolina fan, There were, a few things you wish you had back. But in the grand scheme of things, this game couldn't have gone any better because you're the better team. We're a 2.5-point dog. I called my dad, so you can't bet in North Carolina. There's two things I'm pissed about. One thing to add to the agenda, by the way, we got to talk about Colorado and Dion. We got to get all this stuff in here. I was like, dude, I was all over the Tar Heels. I was like, dude, Dad, my dad lives up near Cherokee, Mom and Dad. I was like, can you get to Cherokee, bet on the Heels to win outright, and then I want Drake May win Heisman parlayed with Carolina win national championship. And here's how I'm gonna unpack it for you. Okay, I'm fucking dead serious, guys. Okay, you guys think I'm crazy? Okay, sit back and listen to this shit. All right, we kicked their ass. Period. All right. No Tez, which everybody knows about. No Nate McCollum, top 2 receivers. No starting corner. He's gone for the year, right? Drake May, I'm going to get back to his stat line because I think a lot of people are going to be like, you didn't, I'll come back to that. Our defense, dude, front page of ESPN right now. I mean, 9 sacks, 16 tackles for a loss. Had a couple, the replacement for the corner kid. He's number 5. I got to get some of the players down. It's early for me. Remember, we don't start paying attention till the season starts. They were clearly picking on him a little bit, but he got more and more comfortable toward the back half of the game. Defensive line was stout. Offensive line didn't give up 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss. I think they count that twice. If our defense, and this is the thing, I'm dead serious about this thing, man. If our defense is that good, we're one of the best teams in the country. Because our offense, we have the best quarterback. You can talk about Caleb Williams. You can talk about Sanders. You can talk about some of these other guys. But our team is that good. And you win the ACC, you just got to beat. Now, I watched Florida State last night. That might maybe pump the brakes if we get to the ACC championship game. Look, there's a long way to go, obviously, right? Week 1. But if you're a Carolina fan, this is the best week 1 we've had that I can remember. Mm-hmm. Now, this predates. There's probably some better week 1s out there, but ain't many. Neutral site. South Carolina fans were there in droves. South Carolina, talking all their shit. It was close early, and then we just buried them.
And it was a big win. South Carolina won 8 games in the SEC last year, and it shows that we can compete with the big dogs. And also South Carolina has a very good quarterback. A lot of people were comparing this is going to be the game of the quarterback, but our defense stole the game. The D-line was incredible. They played well. And for all the smack that everyone talked about our defense last year, it seems that they got the message. They woke up. Also, our offensive line, I don't think Dre took 1 sack all game. And if they did sleep.
He had 1.
They had 1?
Yeah.
All right. I would say that our O-line did a great job, and that's a huge deal in protecting Drake, which is going to be key. But, Drake didn't have to play hero ball. And also, if we can get Tez back next week, hopefully the NCAA will wake up and actually address the situation, and we can get him back in the lineup. It's just going to make us that much better.
I'm going to come back to Tez in a second, but Drake's stat line, I think if you look at him against some of these other guys that had great games, big games in week 1, 24-32, 269, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. Doesn't really jump off the page at you, okay? He had a rush for 25 yards too, I think, or a couple rushes for 25 yards. First of all, 24-32, he had 2 bad throws that I saw that were really bad. One, he led Paysauer out of bounds on a sure touchdown. If he dropped that ball inside the pylon, that's 6. And, now he's got 3 touchdowns. Another one was, I can't remember the receiver. Maybe it was Blackwell, but he missed the back shoulder. You could tell he was trying to throw back shoulder. He let him a little too much, and that ended up being a sort of a jump ball. I think it was an interception. So take that interception off. Another thing that didn't go his way is he threw that 37-yarder. Blackwell caught it and kind of lunged at it and landed at the 1. And, of course, in college football, you land, you're down, and then we run it in 1 yard in the very next play. So, you're looking at a couple things if they happen. He's got 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, a few extra yards, maybe closer to 300 yards. And the stat line is completely different. his quarterback rating was like 98, just shy of 90, and you probably would have got in there over 100. But the thing of it is you're in a neutral site against an SEC, against a good team. Now, talk about Colorado, they played a good team. Talk about Florida State, they played a good team. I get it, right? I'm just saying that, that stat line was in some ways, bad. for Drake, and it's a great stat line, right? So anyway, you can't just imagine that shit happened. So it happened, and throwing 2 INTs, maybe, point is he came out there and looked just as poised this year as he has all his career here. So nothing but optimism there. The defense is the biggest thing, dude. If our front seven can push these guys downhill and force tighter coverage on or force quicker decisions out of the QBs that we face, man. And here's now it's starting to set up, dude. Now it's starting to set up. You got App State next week. You got look, we thought Minnesota was going to be like a good offense or whatever. That I can't remember who they played, but it was a snooze-a-thon. I think it was 3-0 in the first half. I don't remember how it ended. But we already talked about it, man. You get those 3 games under your belt and you go on a home run, run of home games. You got Miami in there and a couple other like Pitt on the road. But I'm telling you, dude, we look like we could compete with anybody last night. So, not last Saturday night, and it was just what a game. Mm-hmm. And South Carolina didn't look that bad. There was a lot of weird shit that happened. Like their coach got pissed because the chain gang was eating hot dogs, and it was like, dude, come on, bro. Like you got the onside kick. And by the way, that was what an onside kick. I mean, I was literally jumping up and down, like, not again in Charlotte. They're fucking us on a onside. I didn't think the guy got across the line. And then they showed the side view, and I was like, that might be the best executed onside kick I've ever seen. Then after the game, had that weird thing where Mac Brown kind of like grabs him by the throat. I think he was just trying to grab him and say something in his ear, but like it was an awkward exchange. And it ended up looking like Mac put him in a chokehold, and all South Carolina fans are pissed about it. All State fans are even more pissed about it, which is just hilarious to me. But yeah, he looked a little salty. But back to the Tez situation, because now it comes down to like this week they're expecting him to get a decision on his second appeal, as if he should even need one. Here's my thing, and I'm gonna kind of segue this and blend this together with this female tennis player, Fiona Crawley. I hope I'm saying that right, Crawley. She went to the U.S. Open, earned $81,000, and had to leave it there because of the NIL rules. You can use your name, image, likeness, but you can't win something from a professional thing because then you're quote unquote no longer an amateur. It's bullshit. And the thing I have the biggest problem with is Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, is nowhere to be found on this. The NCAA is nowhere to be found on this. At some level, right, you could say, well, hey, look, the only speech we need is like we denied the waiver, right? Like we don't owe you this. Okay, like if you want to take that route, maybe it's just the fact that we're too close to it because we're Carolina people. But between that and this, you just feel like you got to come out and say something, and they haven't said anything, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. It's a complete farce, the whole thing.
I agree, Sleep. And part of me understands that, hey, listen, she is an amateur. And this is kind of something that's happened, right? Especially kind of in golf. I think there was a situation where a kid advanced. He was still in college and couldn't take the winnings. But I do agree that the NCAA has done a bad job by not coming out and at least voicing their opinion or saying, hey, listen, under the rules of the NCAA, this is not considered name, image, or likeness. This is a competitive, you're earning this money through playing your sport. You would no longer be considered an amateur. If they were to come out and say that, I would understand it. But the fact that they have just sat here and shunned us and not said a word or given us any clarity really doesn't sit well with me. And this is sometimes all we want from the NCAA is when things happen, just on a certain timeline, be a little responsive, okay? And I don't understand why the NCAA gets to sit back for weeks and weeks and just not address important situations while these kids are going through it. And, this is something that they've kind of gotten known for and gotten a reputation for, is just, not addressing the situation for months and months and just putting it on the back burner. It's absolutely ridiculous, Sleep. I want them to come out, have a little clarity, understand why this isn't name, image, or likeness, and why she can't accept the money, and say, yeah, I agree that, rules are rules, but this is what we go by. But if it was me, I wish she could keep the money. And by the way, the women's tennis program at UNC is second to none.
Big time.
I think they won the national championship. I also think they have graduated every tennis player. They haven't had tennis players hit the transfer portal. We have a state-of-the-art tennis facility. It's unbelievable. And what their coach has done and what the program has done. By the way, their coach is a really good pickleball player as well. But the program is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think, look, at the end of the day, I understand the rules. They're trying to apply the rules with Tez, and it's bullshit because the rules changed. You can't just you can't pull me over for doing 55, and then because 2 days from now you're going to turn it to a 45, right? I mean, it's just like you can't do that. All right, now understand this whole maybe this amateur thing is a rule. I understand by the letter of the law, she can't keep the money, whatever. I'm just saying the rule is wrong, and I'm not saying you can't go back and get it. And I know you feel the same way. This whole amateurism thing is ridiculous, man. Like, I could go on for hours about how dumb this is. Like, if she is an amateur, she's clearly better than professionals. So you should be able to capitalize on how good you are at something. Yeah. I mean, and it goes back, and this is the age-old argument, college athlete can't go work as an Uber Eats driver because they're not even allowed to have a job, basically. It's absurd, right? And I mean, if I'm in school for journalism when I was there, like, I had jobs trying to I was an amateur journalist, a college journalist, and still had jobs trying to, test learn in the real world. Why athletics is any different than that is beyond me, and it's all just it's a power struggle. People pulling the strings, man. It's really unfortunate.
I've always done that comparison. So if you're an engineer in school and you have a software program that you want to sell to a big time like IBM or something like that, and you want to make a lot of money on it. If you're still in school, you can do that. But as a professional athlete, you cannot go out and sell your product and use your product and still be eligible. To me, you're kind of discriminating against athletes in a way because that is their job. Just like an engineer, that is going to be their job. You should be able to make money on that, and athletes shouldn't be held to a different standard than regular students at times. And that argument has never set well with me, and people can't explain it. I don't like it, but she did represent the university greatly and did a great job in the U.S. Open. So that is big time for her. So congrats to her on doing such a good job. But we wish she could get paid for sure.
Absolutely. Can't take that away from her. You know what the tennis organization should do, or the U.S. Open should do, or American Express, or whoever these people are. They should give her some sort of deal for $81,000.
100%.
Make one commercial saying, using her as the, amateur story. And that would just expose how ridiculous this is.
Yep.
How blatant workaround.
I agree.
Right? Just one social media post about Rolex. Oh, here's $81,000. Somebody should do that. You don't even got to give me credit for the idea. We come up with a lot of really good ideas around here. SleepHawk Worldwide. We just don't really execute many of them. Anyway, last thing I'm going to say about this is like the NCAA, Charlie Baker. I had forgotten that we talked about it when Ross brought it up last week. But you're right. Like when they named this guy, we were like, yeah, let's just let a politician get involved. Yep. He's handling it exactly like a politician would handle it. It's so bad that like at some point, dude, I'm nobody. I wish I was somebody so that somebody would listen. Like somebody has to hold this guy accountable to come out and say something. Stop being a coward. I mean, like you said, explain the rationale. We don't have to like it. But you're sitting here talking about there's 92,000 people at a volleyball game and you're posting all this stuff about all this sort of stuff. Good for them. Great for them. But like there's real decisions here that matter, and you're trying to act like somehow 92,000 people showing up at a volleyball game is changing people's lives when you're sitting here clearly damaging it now in two different situations. So get on with that. NFL starts Thursday. It's probably where Tez is going to be, and I ain't going to have to worry about what Charlie Baker says about what he can and can't do. That starts Thursday. I can't even remember who's playing Thursday. I haven't even looked at the schedule yet. I got a fantasy football draft Wednesday night. No idea who I'm going to draft. I don't even know. We're not even ready for like football preview. We put our fantasy preview out. So go check that out. I mean, in general, Just give me in general, Big Hulk. Like, how you feeling about football season this year? You think the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl or the 49ers? I think they're both in the AFC. I don't know that, though. No, 49ers in the NFC, aren't they?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, Trey Lance traded the Cowboys. Bunch of weird stuff. Sam Howell, we were talking right before the thing. Wouldn't let me compare them to the point. They ain't like the Tar Heels anymore. I'll tell you that much as of Saturday. Yeah, what are you looking forward to?
First of all, I want to see if the Commanders are real. This is the best time of the year for the Commander fans.
It is. You ain't wrong,
because
buddy.
reality hasn't really hit that they're the Commanders. But
it never does.
I want to see Sam Howell do big things. I've always been a big fan of him. I know he's a starting quarterback, Carolina guy. I'm excited about him and watching him. Hopefully he does big things. Good kid. The other thing I want to watch for is Justin Herbert. I think he has had a lot of hype, but not a lot of wins. I want to see him get into the playoffs, win some games, and kind of meet the hype that he's had. I agree. He's an unbelievable quarterback. I'm also looking forward to the 49ers. There's been a lot of different things that have happened there. They have an unbelievable defense. They have a lot of firepower. I want to see if Brock Purdy can deliver and be the quarterback that a lot of people want him to be. And the other thing that I'm looking forward to is the Dallas Cowboys downfall. The Dallas Cowboys will always suck. And nobody, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you are a front runner. And every year, you guys never fail to make yourselves look like the biggest joke in football. I just hope that you guys get off to a 3-game winning streak, and we just have to hear you guys just talk and tell us how good you are before the catastrophic downfall happens, because it's inevitable. Every year, the Dallas Cowboys will suck, and I will never get enough of it. They can't suck enough for me to like it. I hope they lose every game for the next 50 years because I'm sick of the Cowboys fans.
I love it, dude. I mean, that's one thing we could agree on. Washington sucks, but so does Dallas, right? So Dallas just tends to suck a little less, is all it is to it. I mean, they're actually, if you back up and look at Dallas historically, they're terrible.
Awful.
They won the Super Bowl in the 90s, but like they don't ever make the playoffs either.
Every year they're going to win it.
God bless. But I hope they lose 3 or 4 in a row so they bench Dak and let Trey Lance go. I got 2 football, pretty solid rookie cards. One's Brock Purdy. I kind of got it by accident. So I kind of like, and I got his Trey Lance. And I was, at one point I had to hedge, right? I got to hold on to both of them, see which one. Obviously, Trey Lance is not looking good, okay? But the thing in cards, dude, is if Dak sprains his ankle and they run Trey Lance out there on the field, I'm selling that card immediately, okay?
I would too.
I mean, and if he blows up, then God bless him. Purdy is a different story. Like, I think he's just kind of a system guy, but, I mean, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong and he's the next damn Tom Brady. So we got Lions-Chiefs this Thursday. That's a pretty good game. Lions are a little different story. That's at Kansas City. Here's the rest of the slate. Sunday, Bengals-Browns. Wow. Ravens-Texans. Ugh. Bucks-Vikings. Panthers-Falcons. These are awful. Cardinals-Commanders. Yikes. I'm a Commanders fan. Jags Colts. God, the 1 o'clock slate. That's what they're doing, buddy. They're stacking up those bad games because they know you want it bad enough. Good grief. 49ers Steelers. Okay. Titans Saints. Snooze-a-thon. Raiders Broncos. Boring. Eagles Patriots. All right. Rams Seahawks. Dolphins Chargers. Ugh. Packers Bears. That's a rivalry. Cowboys Giants out of the gate. That's Sunday night. And what might be the only good game of the whole week, Bills Jets Monday Night Football. That's going to be a big one. That's on September 11th too. New York teams.
That's a big one. Sleep. I got a question for you. Will your guy Russell Wilson have a good year?
No. Nope.
Dude, that's your guy.
He's a fraud, dude. He's my guy, right? I was at trivia. I was at trivia the other night here at Woody's downtown, and there's this guy that always comes into Woody's, and he's like a history teacher. He is if you look up state fan in the dictionary, this guy that's his picture sitting there, and he's running like trivia. And I think they had a question or sports question about rushing yards for quarterbacks or something. And he made the comment about how his NC State quarterback, Russell Wilson. I was like, bro, he is not NC State quarterback. He's like, he went there for 3. He like starts shouting at me that he'd gone there for 3 years. I'm like, Yeah, exactly. I mean, and he was as much as a quarterback at NC State as I was at UNC, and I went there for 8 years, right? So I just think it's funny how State fans just love to claim Russell Wilson. It's like, dude, that would be like us trying to claim Rashad McCants. Like, nobody wants the guy. He's an asshole.
Or Walker Kessler.
Well, I would
transferred out.
I'd like to claim him though.
Russell Wilson transferred out. Let's say that.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
he didn't stay at State. Okay, if you transfer from the school, it's hard to claim him afterwards.
But the point that I was making with the McCants thing too, which is a bad one, is that they're unlikable. All right, nobody likes these guys. Yeah. So like nobody, you know, you might have been here and you might have found some success at some point, but like you ruined it. Okay, and Russell Westbrook is this I always call him that. And I should write a handwritten letter to Russell Westbrook every time I accidentally call Russell Wilson Russell Westbrook.
You know what I don't like about him, Sleep? And this one really set me off. I know you're about to go on a tangent and why you don't like him. Do you remember when they played the game in London and they had the media made this big thing about him doing high knees in the in the aisle as everyone else slept? Like they just said, hey, all these guys slept on the plane, but Russell Wilson was working out and running through it. Just, and to me, it was like, get your ass to practice early, okay? Do the stuff early. When you get on the plane, don't make everyone else that's trying to sleep you going through the aisle doing high knees. It's just going to keep me up. Like, it can't be comfortable. First of all, I'm a big dude. I can barely fit in the aisles. How the hell are you going to do high knees and all this other dynamic warm-up on a damn plane? It was the dumbest thing I ever heard. And I think it was a PR stunt, Sleep. I think it was a PR.
He's nothing but a PR stunt.
Hey, I work hard. I work harder than everybody. Everyone else was asleep. I was working on the plane ride. Look at me. That's how I took it. I thought it was the dumbest thing I've heard.
And guess who leaked that? I'm sure. Ain't nobody, whoever was on their team ain't gonna be like, yo, Russell was doing high knees over Iceland.
He's locked in. Locked in.
Oh yeah. The best one though is even better. It was the night that he had the broken hand, and he's running the shadow plays in the end zone before the game because he's mic'd up, and he's like pretending he's in the huddle. He's pretending he's 8 years old, like. While your mom's talking to her friend in the grocery store, and you're just bored, so you're like pretending, dropping back, throwing bombs and catching them and shit because you're just trying to kill time by any means necessary. This guy just knows the cameras are on and just wants us to think that he's just about it.
Yeah,
and, bro,
no
come
way.
on, dude.
No way.
It's just so lame. Tebow's the same way. Tebow's like. Oh God, I got to go on for another hour. If you watch that Gator Untold thing, Urban Meyer, Recovery Fest, Tebow, like I can't even breathe. These guys piss me off so bad.
Dude, no one takes Urban Meyer seriously right now.
Oh God. Yes, dude. They showed a picture of him, like they had panned the camera because now he's on like FS1 or something like that. One of the college pre-games, and one of these like bro. Maybe it was Old Row or some one of these bro Instagram accounts had a camera angle that just barely caught him off to the side of the set before they go on talking to some cheerleader or something. God. It was hilarious. Last thing before we get out of here, man, Team USA lost to Lithuania yesterday. They play tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. I can't remember who they play, but I'm pretty sure they're still relative lock for. Because some teams, several teams lose, they're in. This is a qualifier for the Olympics in 24. If they win, they're in, right? If somebody else loses, I think they're in. I don't know. What do you make of it? So it's an interesting roster because it's younger. You got a lot of players that are fun to watch, but you name the who's who of the NBA is not on this roster.
Yeah. First of all, I think they've struggled interiorly. They've given up a lot of offensive rebounds. And if you look at Lithuania, they have Jonas Valanciunas, which was a teammate of mine in Toronto, who is a big he's one of the best offensive rebounders and big men in the NBA right now. So I think they kind of beat him up on the boards. And interiorly, he was a tough matchup for him. They've struggled all, in all these qualifying games with the bigs inside. They are more of a smaller team, but this isn't going to deter them from getting a qualifying win and getting into the Olympics for sure. But Lithuania, shouldn't be overlooked. They're a very quality team. They have a lot of good players like Jonas Valanciunas.
I think that the NBA has done this to themselves, you know, and look, man, if you had the top 10, 12 guys in the NBA on the team, you know, they'd still just run right through everybody. Anthony Edwards is about to, everybody kind of knows who he is. They're about to know who he is this season. I mean, he's a real deal.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Good players on that team.
I would like to see him get out of Minnesota. I really would.
That's kind of one of the things that the people have already started talking about is like where he's going to go next. And, you know, it's pissing some people off, that narrative, just because like, but I'm with you. I'd like to see him at least go to a team that is, more exciting to watch.
One other note, and this is just a question, this is off the top of my head. What do you think of Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota? Do you think that has really worked out the way they wanted?
You know, I don't think so, but I think it's more on Gobert. Like, I think Cat is like, you know, he's a Kentucky guy. I'm not a fan from that standpoint, but like, you know, you hear him talk and he's not like an asshole. He seems like he's probably a good teammate and a good dude. And I kind of like the guy. Yeah. I don't know.
I go back and forth on Sleep. I have mixed feelings on it.
I'm curious why they gave up all that to get Rudy Gobert. I mean, they gave up so much to get him, and Gobert just really hasn't been the guy. And I almost figure if you're going to if you want Gobert, like give up Towns. Yeah. I don't understand the whole two big men thing in today's NBA.
Yeah, I think something's got to give. I think Minnesota needs to make a change. They need to figure out what they want to do.
They're an interesting team because I think they're good and I think they can be good. But if they don't figure that part out, like they're not gonna, they're not gonna get past some of the better, more experienced teams, more balanced teams, I guess, in the Western Conference, much less. Are they in the Western Conference?
Yeah, they're in the Western Conference.
Brain dead. Yeah. But the NBA, the thing on the Team USA, before I get out of here, is I really think the NBA, they've done this to themselves because they've done such a great job of globalizing the game that you look now at all these other teams. I remember when I was a kid, now maybe I just wasn't that in tune with it, but the Dream Team wasn't playing a team in Canada with SGA. Or in Australia with Josh Giddey and probably some other guys, or teams in Lithuania with studs, Spain, right? I know they probably had the good players at the time, right? But now I think the NBA has created a globalized talent pool that they pick from, and then there's some really good players. I mean, Luka Doncic ain't American, Yeah. There's some really good players on some teams that probably sound pretty obscure, and there's African countries out there that got, some stars in the league. So, I'm not saying that America still shouldn't be the clear-cut favorite every single time if they field, even 6 or 7 guys that are at the top of the league, because most of these rosters are comprised of maybe half NBA players. And like the U.S. roster has traditionally been 100% NBA players and about 98% stars. Yeah. So, it's still no excuse. And I think they've tested a few things. Guys like Austin Reeves is still, he's come a long way, but he's still got a lot to prove. Guys like Brandon Ingram, who I think are good players, but still kind of saying, hey, I don't really know where I fit in here. You got Steve Kerr, you got Spoelstra, you got Mark Few as coach in there. So, they got all the requisite talent and both on the bench and on the court. I think it is interesting to me, being a Kuminga guy, to see Kerr manage, because they lost to Lithuania, and then I can't remember who they played the game before, but they didn't look that great in that one either. And there's the whole narrative out there about Kerr and younger players. So
yeah.
Of course I have no idea, but it's super interesting to kind of watch and see what happens. I'm with you. Like, they're not in trouble or anything like that, but they don't lose many games. So whenever they do, it's pretty newsworthy, but we'll see tomorrow morning. And if you're 8:30 in the morning is watchable. Too bad it's on freaking Tuesday. We'll finally be back to work, but short week this week, man. You got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.